Wow. Who is that person he described? Thank you very much. I would especially like to thank all the members of the board of the Vermont Humanities Council who considered me for this recognition. Special thanks to Executive Director Peter Gilbert and Board Chair Ben Doyle, who invited me and welcomed me here. And Mr. Swenson, whose name this award carries, whose vision and service to the Council launched important work, which is our legacy to preserve and to perpetuate. I was also surprised by friends and family today as I entered the building, and I thank my colleagues, mostly of who are in absentia. 2 are here, but together they carry me and buoy me up, because sometimes this work, when you stand up for what you believe in, you are also spending some of your likability and your social currency, and they help me go on. So thank you. So what is this work? What is this legacy? I'm here to tell you that it can no longer go without saying that it's through the humanities that we define ourselves. This must be said and re-said persistently. We have to affirm that it is, in fact, through the humanities that we narrate, celebrate, and sometimes commiserate our individual and collective journeys. It's how we express our struggle with the mysteries inside us and all the mysteries outside of us all. Our stories, our poetry, our music, our theater, our film, our paintings, our dances, and all of our artifacts remind us of where we came from, where we got lost, where we stumbled. They also point to where we're destined to go because of our yearnings or due to the choices that we've already made. The humanities make up our playbook. But we also have this double-edged sword that we're here exploring of technology and humanity. We might be reminded by some of the pre-readings for the conference that technology is this marvel because it can manipulate our sense of time and shrink the distance between physical spaces. The railroad, the car, the jet. And yes, this is true and amazing and praiseworthy, and it's convenient. And it does technically and physically bring us together. Yet, though we benefit from the collective social progress that each generation has provided, the closing of the distance between respective hearts and minds of 2 people, as opposed to geographical places, is a task that must be carefully negotiated anew with every fresh interpersonal encounter. And closing that gap is not the business of machines, and it's not accomplished with dispatch. Transcending those distances is about patience and presence and wisdom, empathy, sometimes etiquette, mindfulness, careful communication, curiosity, sharing, intuition. These qualities are cultivated through the humanities. We're neglecting and devaluing these skills. As paraphrased in one of our other readings for the conference, it said, "We may have sacrificed the near to gain the far." I'm also here to assert to you that we have become complicit in a false dichotomy. We've been influenced to believe that some endeavors are more important than others, more worthy of funding and attention. We've been seduced by propaganda and have capitulated and retreated to the margins. Science, technology, engineering, and math by themselves are no panacea for the future. Yet, I am not prepared to take my precious words, art, and music and shiver in the darkness either. It's time, however, to reject the ridiculous and artificial rivalry between the sciences and the humanities. They must coexist and co-evolve, to borrow an expression from yesterday's dystopian fiction breakout session. Science is essential and promising. But whether its products become toys, tools, or weapons will be debated, framed, litigated, and mitigated by the humanities. As we move toward having a sense of being global citizens, that's to say you and me and others, which equal we, a planetary we, be it Burlington or Baghdad or Brussels, Chittenden, China or Chad, we have to apply every skill from every domain to address the issues that we face. There is no room for territorial skirmishes. One of the activities that my colleagues and I have done with students to demonstrate this need for parity of skills to help them learn how to facilitate difficult conversations is to ask them to consider, just for a minute, which of the following problems they would tackle if they could only choose one. And you can imagine it for yourselves as well. Consider education for all, climate change, extreme poverty, peacekeeping. So they think about it for a minute and complain. And then they go to their corners and they talk to their like-minded occupants and they report out. It's a forced choice, yes. And they don't like it at first. But they ratify their decisions and they have good explanations for their positions. So climate change. They say, if we don't tackle this, the planet will no longer be able to sustain life as we know it, and nothing else will matter. Very compelling. Education for all. Without education, we have no innovation. We won't be able to tackle these problems, particularly if we're not educating half of our world population. Extreme poverty. If people have to worry about food and shelter and everyday needs, how can they think about tomorrow? Long-range plans and sacrifices, protecting the environment. How will we educate them? And without peace, we have no large-scale cooperation and no hope of compliance. It's messy, and it's complex, and it's interconnected. And if we're going to address these and other global issues, such as human migration, infectious diseases, intellectual property, aging populations, e-commerce, environmental degradation, only a few of the topics that we handle at our Global Issues Network conference, I would be remiss if I didn't put in a personal plug. We need inventions. We need medicines. We need distribution solutions, logistics, strategies, prediction models, simulations, experiments, prototypes, bioengineering, earth science, computer science, chemistry, physics, biology, of course. But we also need the rule of law. Good communicators in all world languages, and a sense of our history. And we need a lot more her story in our history. We need to communicate and to understand, to explain and to persuade, to engage in these innovations, and to know where we can even start to leverage the conversation. And we need civil dialogue, which is hard to come by these days, so that we can listen and learn, and so that we can be heard. We need the arts to inspire and provoke and compel people to change. We have to appeal to their heads, and we have to appeal to their hearts. Now, I haven't done a random double-blind pool of sampling in my microcosm of my classrooms, but it seems to me that the students who appreciate the humanities coincidentally are the ones who can persist and focus, design cohesive arguments, analyze and synthesize, and acknowledge and integrate multiple perspectives. Some of the others who don't have a respect or appreciation or perhaps an exposure to the humanities have trouble regulating their own behavior. They don't recognize other perspectives beyond their own, and they have little tolerance for frustration, and they're distracted and distracting in learning environments. I believe that a good dose of humanities would be the antidote for this. So are you convinced? Are you with me? You are my people. I hope you're convinced. I invite you to join me in a couple of missions. First, use your voice and your influence unapologetically to reclaim the importance of the humanities wherever and whenever you have a chance. Don't be bystanders. It's counterproductive to lament how impoverished our status has become, or to spitefully hang back and say, "I told you so." It's time to rehabilitate the humanities' reputation. Next, get out of your comfort zones. As guardians of the humanities, reach across your hemispheres, reach across the school, reach across the community, and make peace and make friends with science and technology. Let us not be merely curators of cultural treasures. Let us also be crusaders in the best sense of that word. Because if we are meant to thrive, or perhaps even survive, our future depends on it. Thank you.